Hey guys, welcome to the live stream. Sorry I was a little bit late today. I was running a little bit behind. I've been scatterbrained all day, so I'm just gonna warn you guys. I start walking off in a direction having some purpose, and then I get halfway there and forget what I'm doing. So today is maybe gonna be a little bit harebrained, but anyway, so welcome to the stream. I had to wait a second there. I wasn't sure if the thing was going, so it looks like everything's good now. So we can begin. So if you guys didn't see, today we're going to be casting these, I think they're called Mexican Crinkle Ornaments, and Art gave me these guys when I was at the SoCal Pen Turners gathering, and they're pretty cool. They're made out of aluminum, I'm guessing, and you can kind of pull them apart a little bit. They're like garland type things, and I think they're like a Christmas ornament kind of thing. Maybe not just specifically Christmas, but it should be pretty fun. I think we can do some pretty cool stuff with these. I had in my mind, I thought we could make some pen blanks. So I've already got this guy in the oven. I think I'm actually gonna, get the 5 blank one going actually. And before I even do that, I'm gonna spray it. Because what I was, these look small. This is how he gave them to me, but you can pull them apart so far that I think we're going to get more pen blanks than these appear, kind of thing. So let me spray these with Stoner real quick. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this way away from here because I don't want to spray it onto those things. So I'm going way over on the other side of the shop so I don't get it on anything that I don't want to not stick. That didn't make any sense. Just going to give them a good coating with Stoner. And we'll be ready to get these guys in the oven. Stoner just helps when you're demolding these things. Not a bad idea to hit them with some demold agents. And actually, that reminds me, I need to talk to Chad, but I want to get the, I've been talking about this giveaway for this other one, this other set of these. We want to do a giveaway, but then I thought about it, and I'm going to see if Chad will hook us up with maybe a discount code or something. So, not promising anything, but I wanted to talk to him before I did the discount or did the giveaway. So let's see here. Let me stop and see. There's a lot of people here today. Tons of people. Mert's here and Billy. Jen's here. Jen was here early. Dominic. Jim. Wow. Ray. I see Michael Barr. Was it Michael Barr or Michael? I see Mike McEwen. Let's see here. And Frank's here. Nice. Lots of people. Eric's here. Wolfridge. Doug's here. Sweet. So anyway, so this should be pretty fun. So I was thinking we could do some pen blanks. And then the other thing that I wanted to do was maybe try and make like a sphere-ish blank or something like that and just kind of spiral them up. If anybody has any other thoughts or ideas on these, let me know for sure. I can only think of so many things, and if you have something that might be kind of cool to try out, let me know. Now, first things first, I haven't dunked these in acetone or anything like that. Yet. I'm replacing my gloves because I was just spraying Stoner over there with those on. So I'm going to put different gloves on. We're going to do a little bit of a test because these things have paint or something, there's color on the tops of these things. And I don't know if acetone or denatured alcohol or any of that stuff is going to take it off. So we're going to do a little bit of a test first. So I have some acetone down here. We're going to switch views in a sec. Hopefully that will be on the camera, and we'll see. Where's my thing here? This one? Yeah, you can kind of see it. Let me move this thing out of the way. No, let's go this way with it. There we go. Now we're on camera. Okay, so let's just take one of these little crinkles. This is acetone, and we're just going to dip it in there and see if that takes off. Yep, that's taken off the paint. So acetone is a no-go. To be honest, resin may be a no-go. I don't know. It depends on what this stuff is. So let's try another test. And we may not necessarily have to, soak these in anything. I do that kind of as a precaution with my aluminum honeycomb and anything else like that that's kind of metal. And all I'm doing is trying to wash off any surface contaminants that may cause an adhesion problem down the road when we add our resin. So I'm going to go with a different one because I don't want to mix these results here. Let's see this. So this is denatured alcohol. Yep, it's taking it off. All right, so we are not going to be doing that to these. That is not going to happen. So I'm going to kind of set these aside, let them kind of cure. That might be some sort of an alcohol ink on top. I don't know what it is. It's definitely not liking solvents though. That's for certain. So hopefully that'll dry off a little bit. All right, so we've established we're not going to clean it off first. Let's see here. So I guess the first thing that we'll do, before we start, I'm going to let these guys kind of dry off a little bit. I'm actually just going to kind of move them out of the camera view for a sec. And before we go on, I'm just going to show you guys, if you didn't see the egg that I made on Wednesday, I'm pretty excited about this thing. It turned out pretty darn good. So hopefully that camera will focus on my hands. But not too bad. We got through the turning pretty well. And everything worked out pretty good. It looks good. I got the shaping exactly how I wanted it. That's what I had in my head. And I spent some extra time to make sure that I was making this type of a shape. But anyway, so if you didn't see that, make sure to check out that live stream replay. It's up already. And then on Sunday, I'll be sharing the dragon egg demo that I did for the Patreon members stream. So let's switch to the intro view for a second and just check this out. It's even egg-shaped, I know. Yeah, to be honest, it's not like it matters. I've seen people that I consider really, pretty good turners say, "Oh, I'm turning an egg," and it's kind of a wonky looking egg. It definitely isn't like that egg shape. So I don't really feel that bad, and I didn't really care so much on the first two, but it was one of those things where I'm like, okay, I've done two of these, and I would really like to I have an egg shape in my head, and I just haven't been able to nail it. So definitely nailed it on that one. I'm very excited about it. What's Doug talking about? Oh, yeah. That was a good video, Doug. Those things turned out really good. I liked all the ones that you turned. All right, so our molds are in the oven. Basically, at this point, like I said, we have to wait just a little bit longer. I want to make sure that solvent on both of those things have dried. I think what I'm going to do... So these silicone molds are the same size as the other ones. We're going to use the Maker's Select. But what I want to do now, let's try and kind of figure out... I need to move my monitor so I can see what's happening. Stop shaking. Oh, time's up. Here we go. Where are we at here? Got all my cameras all jacked up and changed. I did get the new camera in. But I don't have the little, I can't really explain it, but I don't have the little extra thing that I'm going to be hooking up on it so that hopefully I won't rip out the electronic parts. So I just want to kind of see how these are going to fit in a 7/8. Really, they're probably really want to be put into a, try and see if I can... I'm going to have to stretch them out quite a bit to get them into these 7/8, I think. It's kind of a bummer, but... I'm not sure if these are going to work so well for pen blanks. I think we're going to have to just stick them in a big mold. Actually, we're gonna change gears, guys. I don't want to have to tear the whole thing apart so they lose their crinkle spirally thing right off the bat. So we're gonna switch gears. We're going with this guy. It's gonna make 6 blanks, and I think this will work. So that way we can just basically just shove it down in there, you know, and we'll keep the spirally things going on. Now I usually cut them this way out of this. Actually, let's go with we can do more with smaller molds, I think. Let's see here. Once you expand this stuff, it doesn't really, I don't know how well it's going to go back. I don't even know how to do it. There we go. Actually, I am sort of able to push it back down. Look at that. Not too bad. We got it fixed. All right, so we should be able to put, like, I'm thinking we can put a few rows and actually even put them kind of intermingled with each other. We got 3 different colors here. So this is kind of a yellow, more yellow. This is orange, and this one's a blue one. So I think we're good to go on this. Now, let's see here. So, like I said, I'm a little harebrained today already, so this may take a little while. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to go spray this guy, get our stoner on there, get it ready, and get it in the oven. While I'm at it, I think I'm just also going to spray this is a 3-inch PVC pipe. So I'll go spray this one too. And we'll get these guys ready to rock so that we can start dunking some crinkles. Dunkin' crinkles. You always want to make sure that you're spraying your PVC pipes especially because Alumilite and epoxies tend to stick in them. They don't shrink up. Polyester resin, generally you can get away with not spraying anything because it shrinks a ton. But epoxies and Alumilite clear generally don't. Every resin, you can look up the information for every one of them, and it's I think it's shrinkage is what they call it. There's some statistic or some characteristic that you should be able to look in their technical information and figure out how much does it shrink. And so I can't remember. They call it. Let me look something up. I'm going to look up the technical data on Alumilite's website for Alumilite Clear. And that way, I just want to make sure that I'm telling you. Oh, Alumilite changed their website. Huh. That's interesting. Shrinkage, that's what they call it. And it's over, I don't know. So the shrinkage number for Alumilite Clear is 0.005, which is very, very little. So that means that you're really going to have a tough time if you haven't put anything that'll help demolding on there, and it's fully enclosed like that. You're going to have some fun trying to get them out of there. And it's just generally, it's not a bad idea to put it on basically anything, any kind of mold, just to make demolding a little bit easier. I'm going to spray off. I have one of those silicone plugs. And I get these guys at Turner's Warehouse. Try to remember to put a link down in the show notes for these guys, but these things are awesome. They make pipe casting super simple. That's it. You don't have to mess around with a hot glue gun or do anything. So that's ready for us. We got our pen blank mold in the oven. And if we have enough left, let's see if we can make some stoppers as well. So I'm going to go spray this and get it in the oven. And that way we'll get a few different types of blanks out of these. And it should be kind of fun. So you guys need to start kind of thinking of colors and stuff. Obviously we want to make these things pretty transparent. We want to see those things. But for pen blanks, you know, I might kind of recommend going a little bit heavier on colors or powders than I would for larger things. So let's see here. Let me stop real quick and see if for the California raisin. No, I didn't. I don't think I coated the raisin. Yeah, I did. You're right. I did put a layer of epoxy on the raisin guy, but I still got those kind of weird things going on. Didn't work as well. So let's see, Daryl. Yeah, okay, so that's exactly the same problem that I've been having with the dragon egg blanks. I don't know what the deal is with that. It's like, I don't know. It happens though. I'm just scrolling up to see if I'm missing any. Hey, Jeff Holloman, how's it going? You turned your dragon egg backwards? With the lathe on backwards? Or backwards. You guys getting grief for eggs. All right, so I don't think anybody had any ideas, but there's Jen. Look at that, a super chat. Jen wants pink. Nice. We're not going to go with the pink glitter, glow-in-the-dark glitter stuff, because that didn't do anything on the other blanks. Let's see here. Nice. Martian woodworking. I like that. I like your logo. That's cool. Duo blue green. Nice. Okay, so pink for Jen. I'm just thinking about what we're going to be doing here. So yeah, I actually think that'll be kind of cool with these colors. So pink, I think pink will kind of go with all of these guys. I am going to kind of get them ready though ahead of time. So I have another mold that's exactly the same size. What I want to do is just get these things ready. One thing we don't want is to have like right on the ends here where it's super close together. We want to make sure resin is kind of getting in between all of these things. If you got it stacked up like that, resin may not get between there and you might get a crack in your blank because the resin's not holding it together. So I'm just trying to kind of get these about the right length. And we'll just put 3 rows in here, kind of overlap the little spirals, but we're going to cut off the end here. I'm just going to use, honestly, I have a feeling that scissors will probably do the job fine. But yeah, it seems like it's some sort of an aluminum foil type thing. All right, so maybe could have gone a little bit longer with that one, but that should work pretty good. And then, like I said, I'm going to get this kind of separated out on the end so that we don't have any flaps getting covered. There's still a little bit of dye coming off of this, so I'm gonna actually blow it off over here with the air gun very lightly. Hopefully just kind of dry any denatured alcohol that we have left in there. Or acetone. Either I did one with one with the other. Both caused problems. I don't think that the dye should be problematic with the resin. I'm guessing it's, you know, it's probably not a water-based dye, so I don't think we have to worry about that so much. I think I'm going to actually flip-flop these. So just a little bit more. We'll cut this guy right here. That might have been a little long. I'm going to try and kind of squish this guy down just a little bit. There we go. And then we got our blue one. So again, this end part, I want to make sure this is kind of pulled apart down there. That ought to be pretty good. So I'll have to be kind of careful when I'm pushing them down in, but I think that should work. I might actually be able to kind of get these things situated somewhat now and just kind of take them out of this and drop them into the other one. It might be kind of a jumbled mess, but that ought to work pretty good. What do you guys think? Frank, how about purple? You got it, bud. So the problem is we have this one, and I don't want to put too many colors. We can maybe do pink and purple if you guys are all right with that. We could do pink in this one and purple in this one, or I want to make sure that we get this sphere one, or you know, whatever, this kind of round pipe one done. And then if we have any more of the crinkles left over, we can do a stopper size thing. So what do you guys think about that? Do you want to do pink and purple swirls in here? Let me know if that sounds good to you guys. Yeah, that sphere you made, Eric, was pretty good. You don't want your color? Sure we do. Yeah, Daryl's asking about the paint bleeding off. It might, honestly. I have no clue. To be honest, I don't know. I hopefully it won't too much, but it may just completely peel off. So we'll have to kind of see how this all goes down. That's the fun of these experiments. All right, so I'm just I want to kind of look at this and see. I think we might be able to do 3 of the, you know, put a little bit of each one of these guys down in here. And I think we should still have a little bit left for the stopper mold. Maybe not filling the entire thing. Jake, $10, $9.99. What? Thanks, brother. I appreciate it, man. You guys rock. What color do you want? So Jake gets to play with what do you want to do with this guy? Jake gets full control over the round one for that huge super chat. I appreciate it, man. see. So I need to make sure. Can the, oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Thing is, you're going to cut this out. So, I mean, they're really going to be mostly, you know, probably not really going to see too much of each one of them in the pen blanks. But I do agree. It is kind of, I wasn't really paying attention. I was just looking at the crinkles. This is kind of, it doesn't really do what I want it to. Jake was short a penny. Yep. I'm not particularly worried about anything. I can always cut the blanks however I see fit. Anything but green. All right, man. All right, so we're going to do pink and purple in the pen blank mold, and we're going to do anything but green in this guy. And then we'll see what we have left after that. So let me just give the mold a feel here. Still needs a little bit. I'm not going to mess around heating up. I don't find you really need to heat up round molds necessarily. You can, but I usually just don't. So I'm going to get some of these shreds kind of prepped here for our kind of sphere mold blank. I'm going to raise this up just a little bit, just so it's a little easier. All right, so I'm just going to basically kind of pull these all the way apart at this point. That way I can kind of dangle them in there and see. I do think we're definitely going to have enough for some stoppers as well. And I'm finding if you give it a little bit of a twist, it kind of crinkles up a little bit more here and there. Get some different shapes in there. It would be really cool if I could get these to spiral, but I have a feeling that despite my best efforts, that's probably not really going to happen. So I think I'm going to cut this about here. Where'd my scissors go? Did I put them back? So we'll just get these guys prepped. Probably going to have to fill up my Alumilite jugs. So just to warn you guys, we're going to probably have to take a little bit of a break while I'm filling up resin. I buy it 10 gallons at a time and then fill up the gallon kit jugs. All right, so you guys can see what I'm doing for the most part, right? Okay, we got that left, and then somewhere around there. I mean, another thing you could do is just pull this all the way, expand it all the way out. That might actually be kind of cool. It's just kind of ridgy, not spiraled. Okay, so I'm actually kind of thinking 2 colors might actually be enough in this one, if I arrange them correctly. I don't know. Might just kind of do it like that. Just kind of shove it down in there. We get a couple different looks in this blank. Some spiraling kind of going on in the bottom, and then some kind of, I just obviously shoved it down in there. At the top. So, all right, DNA, yeah. Yeah, I don't know, but I don't know about the hanging it thing. I don't know that that's gonna be kind of really worth the time. Okay, so that thing's in there, that thing's over there. So this mold is gonna take probably about 700 grams, something like that. Maybe a little bit more. Let's see here. I did one not too long. What did I just do that was 3 inches? It was the egg that we just did. So let me look and see how many grams of resin we put in there, because it was pretty much all resin. 3 inch. We used 700 grams. Yep. Look at that, guys. I even remembered how much goes in one of those things. All right, so today we're doing the Mexican. I'm writing down some notes over here, so I think I'm gonna move that camera to the side view kind of thing. Just think it kind of works pretty well. So I'm just going to drop this guy down. Sorry about, at least this isn't the main camera. That way you can kind of see what I'm doing. Let's see if that worked. Yeah, that looks pretty good, right? Got this thing. Okay, so I'm writing down some notes here. Which I do with every casting that I do. So today is the 10th, is that right? 10th, 410. We're doing the Mexican Crinkle ornaments. All right, so number one, let's get this sphere done first. We'll let that mold kind of heat up a little bit. So we're doing a 3-inch sphere. So when you're doing a thick blank like that, you don't really want to put a whole lot of powder or dye in it. I'm thinking that we could probably get away with, I don't know. What do you guys think? Anybody have any ideas for what we can put in there? Jake just doesn't want green. If anybody has any ideas, I'm thinking maybe, I don't know. We already have a little bit of yellow, orange, and red. We could put some like fluorescence. I'm actually kind of thinking like a white pearl. Just add a little bit of white pearl in there, and I think we might be good to go. Yeah, it does look like the DNA spiral, kind of. Yeah, we could just tint the resin. That's not a bad idea either. Hold on real quick. I'm going to kind of scoot up here. Scrolling up a little bit, making sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, interference, not bad. I like that. All right, so let's do a little bit of interference purple. Do I have that somewhere? I don't use that one that much. I have some, the two that I don't really use that much is interference gold and interference purple. Where the heck are they? All right, I guess they call it interference violet and interference gold. Let's go for that. Let's see what ends up happening with that. Interference violet. I don't know if that's showing you guys what's, if it's, this camera never seems to focus on anything. Yeah, there we go. So we're doing clear with interference violet and gold. Now we could tint the resin also. I don't know if that would help anything or make it look any cooler. We could make the resin red. I don't know. What do you think about that? We could do blue. We already have blue in there though. I've never seen tinted red resin with interference gold and purple. What do you think, Jake? It was trippy. Yeah, it is trippy. So for anybody that doesn't know, these interference powders, the way they work, it almost looks like it's just white pearl. But what ends up happening is when you put it in the resin, it kind of looks a little bit white or just kind of clear. There's not really much color until there's something behind it. So if you have like darker colors behind it, that's when it pops the color out. Jake wants to go for it. All right. That's what I like to hear. So we're going to be very careful with the red dye. So we need, let's see here, so 700 grams total, 350 times 2. We're going to go with probably just 1 drop of red Alumilite dye. Plus, and the way we're going to do this, we're going to break off the interference powders. We're going to do this kind of separately. So you'll see how it works. All right, so I need to get a gigantic cup first. And I need to clean this cup out a little bit. If you're going for something that's dead clear, I would highly recommend just get a new cup. Don't reuse, because there's always these little bits of resin on the edge of the cup that when you start mixing, they're going to come off. So in this case, I don't think a couple little specks are going to be a problem, but if you're doing a dead clear casting, then it usually is a problem. All right, so I'm going to zero my scale out here. Whew, I don't know if we have 700 grams in there. Let's see. Let's just see what we got. We need 350 of part A, so we're using Alumilite Clear Slow Set. I constantly see people get Alumilite Clear and Amazing Clear Cast mixed up. People still do it all the time, and they're two totally different resins. One's a urethane base, the Alumilite Clear, what I use, and one of them is an epoxy. And so they're totally different things. The Alumilite Clear Slow Set is nice because you can pour large amounts all at once in one pour without having to worry about it overheating. Most epoxies cannot do that. There's a few out there that can, but not too many. So that's one of the reasons I like Alumilite Clear Slow Set. So I need 350. Ooh, we're so close. 349.6, 350.4. So we'll just add a little extra part B. Go with 351 for the part B. All right, so zeroed that out, and I need 351. This would probably be easier just to pour out of the jug, but I love to pump. I got to get a tricep workout in here. Now in this case, I think I can actually just leave those little shreds in the mold. A lot of times the way that I do it is I'll actually pour the resin in first and then push things down in. But I think there's enough air space between all of the little parts of that stuff that I think I can just actually just dump the resin over that and it'll fill in all the little crevices. So let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens. We're at 270. Well, you can pour deep, but it's going to overheat. So, I mean, I've poured pretty deep with it too, but I've also poured buckets of Alumilite Clear Slow Set, which there's no way you could do that with epoxies that are not meant for that. Let me see what that is. All right. So we got our resin ready. Wouldn't advise it though. All right, so let's mix this guy up. And when you're mixing your resin, you want to make sure that you scrape the edges and the bottom of the cup, sides, I should say, the sides and bottom very well. Make sure you got all of the part A and the part B mixed up together, or else you're going to have little blobs of goo and of uncured resin, basically. You don't want that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is we're going to break off a little bit of resin in these two little cups for our interference powder. We shouldn't really need a lot. We're just trying to add. Now this is actually something I didn't really think about. Getting the interference powder down in. That might be kind of a little bit more difficult with the stuff in there already. However, it's also going to be difficult if we push it down in. So we'll just see if we can get some interference intermixed in there without using syringes or any other kind of crazy methods. Let's just see what we can do. So I'm going to add about an 1/8 teaspoon of our interference powder to each one of these. So this one is it's like the gold, I think. That's the gold. I'm going to wipe my little spoon off here. And then we will add some violet. We'll just have to kind of play with it and see how much of this we actually add to the entire blank. I'm kind of loading this up a good amount, but I'm not going to pour a whole lot of this in there. So it's going to look very saturated, but we'll just control the amount that we actually pour in there. Another way you could go is just kind of drip some of the flake off some of the powder in there, but we want this to be mostly like red, I guess, but like transparent with a few little strands of this interference powder. So we'll have to just kind of see how this goes. I don't know. This might be a little bit, could have gone the other way where I just added a tiny bit of interference powder, and that's going to give you slightly different results. Right now it looks pretty much like a I don't know, like a pearl, basically. It's not very see-through. If you add just a little bit, hopefully you can see in the middle of that, a little, I don't know, I don't have a very good camera right now, but it just gives, it's kind of clear and cloudy, but it has this kind of purple tint to it until you put something dark behind it. So there's two different ways you can use these. This is a little bit more like how I make my opal pearl blanks, or like the, what do you call it? Abalone. Yeah, opal, yeah, it is opal pearl, that's what I call it. So there you go, it has just a little bit of a purple tint to it. Now another way we can go is we could actually just pour a little bit of these into this cup first, and then you'll have some in there, and then when we pour it in, it'll just kind of swirl around. Actually, I think that's probably the smartest way to go on this, trying to add just a little bit of a hint of each one of these colors. So let's give that a shot. I haven't, I don't know if I've done similar things like that, but not with tinted resin and interference colors, definitely. So I just want to make sure that I've given these a good stirring, because sometimes you'll see if you let it sit for a minute, the little powders, unmixed little powder particles kind of float to the top. So I'm just going to kind of wait, make sure that this is all mixed in. And then what we're going to do, like I said, let's see how this goes. We're having fun experimenting today. So I'm just going to pour a little bit of this violet. You guys can see, right? I want to make sure that you guys are, camera's in the right position here so that you can see. My thumb's on it. Sorry about that. Okay. So, and I'm going to kind of pour a little bit high here in like a thin stream. Okay? That's it. Same thing. All right. So we just have a couple of little blobs in there. What I'm going to do is kind of swirl this up just a little bit in the cup. And then we're going to go for our pour. All right, let's get this thing out of the way. We really didn't need all that resin for the interference stuff, but here we go. Now another thing that you can do is we didn't really put a whole lot of that interference in there, but it is, we have little bits of it floating around down there, but we can also kind of do two different things with this blank. So I'm going to pour a little bit just straight in, and this will thicken up the interference effect on the top here. So let's see what we get here with that. All right. Yeah, we just have little blobs of color. Oh, I forgot to make it red, didn't I, guys? Oh well. I think that would have kind of killed the interference effect anyway. Just kind of wiggle that a little bit. Make sure that, try and tap out any big air pockets that we may have down in there. I think we're good to go. So let's get this guy in our pressure pot. Actually, I think I'm going to put it in this one. I have a flat base in this one. I think that'll work pretty well for that. So we'll get that guy in the pressure pot. Crank it down to 70 psi. And we will be golden. I'm excited to see how that turns out. I've never really done anything like that before. And there we have it. So we got a little bit of leftover here. I think I will spray a tube real quick, and we'll just kind of pour one little pen blank. I really should have put it in the pressure pot, but and get this guy there. Should be able to get a pen blank out of this. Here's my... Gotta figure out which one I put a stopper thing in. All right, there we have it. So let me stop, look at the chat, see what you guys think. Sorry I screwed up the red. I didn't think about that. Now the problem is I really need to pressurize this, but I really don't have a pressure pot that's empty. So we'll just have to kind of set that aside. That's the unfortunate business. I should have put it in with the other thing, but I didn't. All right, so let's do our pen blanks. See what we got. I'm just going to wipe off this stick thing. I like to keep my mixing sticks nice and clean. That was almost a bad idea. Oh, my pressure pot. There we go. Whew. Okay. Told you I was going to be a little harebrained today, guys. All right, so let me stop, see what's happening in the chat here. Bonus pen blank, yeah, kinda. It'll be interesting to see what this looks like, but it's gonna have air bubbles all over the place. So let me get my lid out of the way here. We'll use this pressure pot next. Let me see what's happening here. Yeah, vacuum's not a good way to go. In some cases, it makes resins boil. Some resins have solvents in them that when you put it under vacuum, it literally lowers, they have a lower boiling point and it literally boils. But either way, the way that pressure works is it's going to collapse bubbles, right? So it's squeezing them, compressing them down into a microscopic size. Vacuum's doing the opposite. It's expanding them. So whether it's boiling or just foaming, what's happening is you're expanding air bubbles, and so it just starts bubbling up out of there, which it's a pain. If you're trying to do resin casting, it just doesn't really work. Pressure it's not going to affect, it's not going to make the resin move around or anything like that. It's just compressing the air bubbles. So it's an immediate thing. It works best, I think, for most resin casting purposes. There are some people that swear by vacuum, but I don't know. I think that it's very specific use cases, or they just don't know what they're doing. In general, for people that do what I do, pretty much nobody uses vacuum. So that's why I was saying different uses maybe. Julie's here. What's up? Free red oak. Nice. Sweet. Yeah, you use vacuum for stabilizing. But it's not really boiling it necessarily. It is sometimes in some cases it does like actually boil the solvents, but it's making the air bubbles in there expand and grow, and that's why it's foaming up or boiling looking. Art's here. What's up, man? So Art's the guy that gave me these goodies. So we got one in the pressure pot. We're gonna do some pen blanks next. We got our mold ready. This one we are doing, let's see, I need to do my notes for this next pour. So number 2, we're doing pen blanks. Call that my 3 blank mold. We're using, oh shoot, I gotta refill the resin, guys. Takes about 300 grams. And we're going to do purple and pink. So we're going to go with some Plum Crazy, Caster's choice, and we're going to go with some, which pink do you want? There's a couple of them. So there's raspberry pink, there's vibrant pink. I guess that's it. Both are equally pretty good. Vibrant pink is a little bit more kind of a neon-y pink, I would say. I don't know if this will show up. This camera kind of sucks, so I do apologize. It's kind of sort of focusing. That's the vibrant pink, so it's a little bit more vibrant. And then raspberry pink is a little bit, they're very, very similar. Very similar. Now the other option, and this is for Jen, the other option is we could go with a pink fluorescent. So let me know which way you'd like to go, and then we're going to go with Plum Crazy, I think you said. Is that right, Frank? Plum Crazy? Where's my purples? Plum, there it is, Plum Crazy. It's a good one. It's a fan favorite. Vibrant. No, that's not. Where's Jen at? Is Jen here still? Gotta make sure. Oh, there she is. Okay. Okay. Still waiting, Jen. So in the meantime, while we're waiting, so my jugs are empty, pretty much, or at the bottom. So we need to refill my gallon jugs. It's going to take a few minutes here. Unfortunately, the part B of Alumilite Clear Slow Set is a little bit, it gets kind of thick and pours a little bit slow. The A side, no problem. B tends to thicken up just a little bit. So it's going to take just a second. So I'm going to turn you guys around over here so you can kind of see what I'm doing. So what I do over here, it's no trade secret or anything. I don't even know if it's useful necessarily. But I just put a piece of foil down because I use the pumps, and so I put a piece of foil down, and then I just kind of let the bottom of the pump drain out a little bit into the jug. The problem is if you lay this pump down, it's going to leak because there's still resin in this tube, and I could pump it out and try and clear it like that, but the easier way to go is to just have it sit like this. And I lose a few drips down into the trash can, but it's not really that big of a deal. I'll do the same thing with the part B. To be honest, my part B, one thing people kind of find out when they start using Alumilite Clear or the Clear Slow Set is the part B can kind of crystallize in your pump, and so that's pretty common. So in some cases, I don't know if the pumps are the best way to go. They work good for me, but I do go through pumps quite a bit. So just to kind of let everybody know, up to you on the pumping. I just find it a little easier in general to just pump it out. And then we're kind of at the bottom of these jugs too. So that's fun. Don't worry though, I got more. I just haven't opened it yet. Sorry you guys have to sit and wait while I fill up my resin. That kind of sucks. The part B, like I said, kind of thickens up a little bit. It pours slowly out of these things, kind of. So I usually do it first because it's the longest. Then the part A doesn't take as long. I'm going to walk over here, see what's happening. trying to see. I can't see if Jen said which color pink yet. So I think, I gotta be honest, I don't know if there's gonna be enough resin in here to do a stopper and a pen blank set. And then when it gets to the bottom in these 10 gallon, or I guess these are 5 gallons each, it starts to get pretty low at the end. What I do is I just cut a hole in the bottom and pour it out. I find that to be the easiest way. Yeah, this side. Just cut a hole in the bottom corner. Oh. I'm going to turn this thing up so it doesn't drip. And then just pour it out of that little hole. This is very exciting, isn't it, guys? Woo! Filling resin jugs live. Okay, I could keep pouring that, but it's really not going to make a whole lot of difference. And make sure that I always label my pumps. Look at the jug, look at the pump. Don't want to put the part A pump in the part B jug. That's going to be a bad day. That'll be a really bad day. All right, so let me look back up here. Jen wants any pink. Okay. I'll have to think about that then. So, and then we got our part A over here. Same game. This one goes a little bit faster though. Right. Close that, turn it up. Let's poke a hole in this guy and we'll be back in action. Okay. Almost lost my pump in the trash can. And then what I do, the pumps usually last me for 10 gallons. So I go through this 10-gallon kit, and then I switch my pumps out. Sometimes I'll have to replace a pump early, but in general, that's about how long they last for me. Okay, we got resin. So we got, let's see here, we're gonna do with 2 cups. Let's just do like a 50-50 split. So the total amount of resin that's gonna go in here is gonna be 300 grams. I'm gonna switch to this view. No, not that view. This view. So anyway, this mold will hold 300 grams. Let's just split it into 50% pink and then 50% purple. We'll go with the Plum Crazy. Let's go with the fluorescent dye. Let's try that one out. That'll be a little bit kind of different, I think. We'll just mix it up a little bit. Plum Crazy. So let's see here. It's going to be 150 grams total, 75. So we'll go with a quarter. Oh wait, we need to. Let's try an 1/8 teaspoon. We want this to be kind of see-through, somewhat. And then we're going with, this is the Alumilite's fluorescent pink dye. I'm just going to add a few squirts until I'm happy with the color of it. So I got to go get another cup. So I'm going to zero my scale out. Some more cups over here. Where are we at here? Where are we at? Brian was asking what the shelf life is for Alumilite. It's probably about 4 to 6 months or so, but technically, as long as it'll cure fine, clear, and everything, just do a test if it's been longer than that. And as long as everything cures fine, it's still good. All right, so part A. You guys can kind of see up in the corner what I'm doing. So I'm going to do, because I just don't want to get a bigger cup out, you could mix it all in one cup if you wanted. What I'm going to do instead is we're going to put 150 in here and 150 in there. So it's 75 times 2 in each cup. Okay, we got 75 there. Zero this guy out. $75 there. Get our part B over here. Make sure that's zeroed. Yes. Yeah, this pump has about had it. $50. Unload groceries. Nice. Groceries are good. $73. All right, 75 in that one. Zero this guy out, and we'll add 75 grams of part B in this one. I think I must have gotten some part A or something. Something weird's going on with the stem of this one. It's not working very well. So I'll be happy to switch it out when I open up the new 10-gallon kit. Yeah, we'll have plenty of resin with this for these 2 batches. 75, okay. Give it just a little bit more. There we go. All right, so we're going to stick in each one of these cups. And I'll do a little bit of mixing. Let's get this thing out of the way. Again, mixing or scraping the bottom. And when I'm mixing, you want to make sure that your stick is all the way down. That way it's every stir is scraping the bottom of the cup. Make sure that you get all the part A's and part B's mixed up. Okay, that one's pretty good, I think. I think I'm just going to get that thing out of the way. It's probably better without it. And with the Lumalite Clear, you just kind of want to mix it until there's no wispy trails going on. No haziness. It should be dead clear. All you should see is some champagne bubbles looking things, small little air bubbles. And if you're not using a pressure pot, you don't want to be mixing like I'm doing furiously. You want to mix real slow and not introduce any air bubbles, or try to minimize how many you add. So we're going to do an 1/8 teaspoon of Plum Crazy. We don't want to put too much in here. These pen blanks are going to be kind of, for pen blanks, usually it's better kind of to make them more opaque. But we want to be able to kind of see, you know, what's going on in here. So we're going to make these a little bit more on the transparent side. So that might have even been a little bit much, but what I can do is when I pull the stick out for pen blanks, that'll kind of give you an idea of how transparent the blanks are going to be. The resin's going to be once you turn it down. And I can still kind of see through the stick, so it's going to be pretty translucent, let's say, but it does have some purple color in there. All right, so we got that color mixed and ready to go. We're going to I'm just going to keep adding fluorescent dye until I'm happy, basically. So we'll have to kind of see how this works. Columbus, Georgia. Welcome to the stream, Alex. We're having some fun mixing up some resin and playing with colors. Now that is some pink right there. I'm gonna add a little bit more. I'm just going to keep going. Technically, you don't want to add more than 5% of 50%. Such a weird way to put it. You don't want to add 2.5% of the total amount of resin in your cup with these Alumilite dyes. I don't think that I'm going to hit that mark because I kind of want this to be on the transparent side, but to make sure, not a bad idea to weigh how much dye you're putting in there. Make sure you don't go over that 2.5%. So in this case, it would be 2.5% of 150 grams, which is what? 4 something? 3.75. You don't want to put more than that of the dye in. So I think that's pretty good. When I pull the stick out, it's still kind of, you can still kind of see through it, but it is definitely nice and pink. And another thing we can do to kind of add to the color is you can mix dyes and powders. Why don't we try that? Let's put a little bit of vibrant pink powder in there, and that'll just add a little bit of pearl. We're not going to add much. Just a little tiny, like, kind of scoop of it. And that'll add a little bit of pearl in with our fluorescent dye. A little bit of sparkle in there. Maybe a little bit more. It's always good to kind of sneak up on it. I'm going to do just a little bit more. Trying to be sneaky. I'm not seeing a whole lot of pearl action going on here. So I just keep adding a little bit more. Now we need to be kind of careful of how long you only have about a 12-minute max working time with Alumilite Clear Slow Set. So even though it's called slow set, it's really not very slow. Compared to, your epoxies and things, most of them are 30 to 45-minute open time. So you got to move kind of quick. Just not seeing a whole lot of pearl going on here. I don't know what the deal is. I want some more effect. Give me some effect here. All right. I'm going to have to give in. I'm not seeing a whole lot of pearl. Maybe it's just my eyes. Maybe it'll come out later, but I'm moving on. Put our spoon back, put our powders back, put our dye back. And I think, again, what I'm going to do is we're going to just push those aluminum things down into our mold first, and we're just going to pour the resin over them. So let's see if I can... Yeah, we'll do them one at a time here. 1, 2, you guys can see all that? Somewhat. 1, 2, 3. Get down in there, come on. Work with me here. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Now I'm going to be waiting for the right time to pour. So if you're trying to keep your colors separated, not bleeding together, basically, you need to kind of wait until the resin starts to kind of thicken up a little bit. And so what I've been finding for Alumilite Clear Slow Set in my shop, with the temperature that it is and all that kind of stuff, so I'm using an infrared thermometer. Right, and check it out. So it's about 96.5 right now. I'm going to wait till about 100. That's been working pretty well for me right now. Like I said, depending on the temperature in your shop, a couple other factors, I would recommend kind of playing around with it to find what the best is for you. But generally, I've found for Alumilite Clear Slow, I guess either one, slow or the regular, you're looking at somewhere between like 90, 95, and depending I've found in higher temperatures like 120 works better actually for me when it gets pretty warm in my shop. So I think this 1 cup, I mixed one first and then mixed the second one. So this one's already at 101. So I think we're ready to pour. Whoa, I almost dumped him. Gotta watch what I'm doing here. So let's get you guys in here. Oh, this way. Perfect. And I'll just keep pouring successive layers. There's all kinds of different ways that you can pour, your blanks when you're trying to kind of do multiple colors like this. All kinds of techniques. Basically, just have fun with it. I think these are going to turn out kind of cool. It'll be interesting. That's for certain. And so the aluminum should turn fine with any kind of tool. You don't even need to have carbide necessarily or anything like that. I've turned like aluminum cans cast in resin before, and it turned fine. Aluminum generally turns, you know, reasonably fine, and this stuff's so thin that it should be fine. Now the only question is, how is the bond going to be with the resin? So we'll have to kind of see, you know, we'll experiment with that, but overall shouldn't be too big of a deal. Everything should work out pretty good. And so into the pressure pot we go. Oh, almost, yeah, I kind of spilled it there. Told you guys, I'm just kind of off today. I don't really want resin on the bottom of my pressure pot. So, wiped it up. We're still okay though. Wasn't a catastrophe. And get this thing closed up and 70 psi, and we'll be ready to rock and roll and do some stoppers. All right. Woo! Thanks, Art. I appreciate it. Super chat. Whew. So I'm excited to see how those turn out. Now the big question is, you know, like, is the dye, you know, the coloring on these things, is it going to kind of just come off in the resin? And I think, you know, it may depend on the resin that you're using, honestly. It may work in Alumilite and not work in polyester resin or epoxy, or, you know, maybe some brands over another. We'll have to kind of see how that goes. I didn't see it coming off in the sphere blank. I think it'd be pretty obvious right off the bat if it were causing a problem. So, okay, so we got our third and final mold. We're going to make some stoppers. And I don't know, I mean, I think we'll just kind of have to shove them down in there. I don't really know of any other, I mean, the only other option that people have pointed out is we could hang it. I don't know that that's super exciting or any better than just kind of shoving the things down in there. You know what I mean? Actually, you know what? Let's do two things at the same time. We're gonna do two things. I know, we're getting a little crazy. So here's the game plan. We're gonna shove some into one of these things, but we're gonna dangle another one kind of in the middle of this, and it's about the same size for stoppers. In fact, actually, I can probably do, well, it's 2-inch, so it could be a stopper, it could be something a little bit bigger than that. So let's do that. I'm going to spray this tube, and we are going to see. So and I can do all of these, both of these at once, basically. I'm just spraying this tube with some stoner. And then again, we're using these plugs from Turner's Warehouse. Super simple. One of the easiest ways to go. I'm going to blow this off just to make sure that we don't have junk happening. Now, I was supposed to tint the resin red for our sphere. Why don't we do that on this one? Red. We're going to go for like super, super light red. All right. And we're going to go with this gold one. Now I need to figure out, problem is it kind of wants to stick to the sides. Just a little bit. Let me see if I can flatten the bottom of this thing. So I'm just trying to kind of flatten it at the bottom. So hopefully it will just kind of lay down flat on the bottom there. This might be a little bit tough, but I think we can do it. So we'll get one of these little popsicle sticks out. I'm just going to tie a knot on here. I think think I can basically tie it anywhere. Oh, that's not the right one. This one. We're going with gold and red color. I'm going to try and squish this. It's a little bit long. I'm going to try and kind of squish it together again to shorten it up a little bit. Yeah, so I think at that point, there, that ought to work pretty good. Maybe a little bit lower. That should do the trick. I'm not even going to bother messing with trying to tie this thing. We're going to hit it with a little bit of CA glue and some accelerator. Because no thanks. Now this is not going to go in the resin. It's not going to affect anything. I just want to make sure that we get this tied and secured. You could use hot glue as well. So it's not going anywhere. And then that'll sit like that. What do you guys think? No, it's not good. It shouldn't really affect it. Just grazing the side of it like that. I mean, in general, though, you don't really want to be getting mold release on stuff that you're embedding. But I don't think it's going to cause enough problem to do anything. Not enough of it came off. All right, and then we'll do a little bit of, we'll just kind of shove the orange and the blue down into this mold, okay? So, now, since art was the last super chatter, hopefully Art's still here. Is there a way that I can see who's here? Oh yeah, I can. Well, sort of. I'm not sure if Art's still here. If Art's still here, let me give me a color. What do you want to see for these ones? I'm going to go with the red, slightly red tinted resin in this one, but what colors would you like to see in this one? The square one. All right, so number 3, we're doing I think that's a 2-inch, yeah. 2-inch PVC. Dangled, let's call it. And so let's let clear. All right, so I think that takes like, I want to say like 350 grams, something like that. Let's just go with that. So 175 times 2, we're going to add a little bit of, I'm going to call it basically like a pinprick of red dye. And pearl white. Nice. You are here. All right. So we'll do a little bit of pearl white in there. Do you just want mostly clear with some just kind of a few sprays, you know, wisps of pearl? So fill it mostly with clear and then just dump some pearl in there. Or do you want it to be white pearl? Let me know. It's up to you. We haven't done any where it wasn't transparent, really. I mean, we kind of did that with the pen blanks, but they're going to turn out pretty transparent. So, up to you. And number 4. And I think that one takes about 350. Let's just go with 400 grams also. Swirls, nice. Pearl swirl. Okay, so it's going to be mostly clear. And we'll just break off a little bit of resin, like 10% basically, so like 40 grams. And I got a new color finally from Caster's Choice. Their macro pearl. So let's give that a shot. It's like big chunky pearl. I don't know if you guys can see that, if it's showing you, but let's give it a shot. It's a pretty cool looking color. I've just started kind of playing with it. So for this one, I'm going to mix up a big cup of resin. I think, let me think about this. 400, 700, 750. Yeah, that should work. $350, yeah. All right, so I think that should work. So I'm gonna be mixing up all the resin for this PVC pipe one, as well as that stopper mold. So that's 750 grams total, and that means it's, I think, 375 times 2. So let's get going here. Need more coffee. I don't know if you can buy resin molds in Canada. Yeah, there's a few places, I think. Mike McEwen should know. Hot glue flashbacks to the Easter egg. Yeah, that didn't really work the way that I was hoping. Let's see where we're at. 290. So we need 375 times 2. This may be pushing the limits on this cup. I think we can fit it. Whoa, went too far, guys. I went too far, so I'm going to dump some of this back. I went way over. You don't want to do this if you got your resin contaminated, but I think we're okay. Gotta watch dumping things back in. See where we're at now. Okay. Okay, we're just gonna go 377 on the second one too. Because I don't want to. I'm tired of pouring it back. We can be 2 grams over. It's okay. Doug asked who Zach was asking. I'm not sure. I think I was asking Art. Is that what you're talking about? The colors? So 377. Man, this is going to take forever with this pump. I'm going to take the pump off and just pour, because this pump has seen better days. Got to be real careful when you're pouring your second one in. You don't want to go over. So 375 is what we're shooting for here. $377. 375. I'm going to be careful here. I'm just going to add a little bit of part B into this little cup so that I'm not dumping a huge jug of it. So we need 377. I'm going to sneak up on it there. There we go. Add a little extra part B to this mixture. Okay. Now, do I have a cap? I'm going to put the pump back on. I don't have a cap for this handy. You don't want to leave your jugs open. You don't want it to get exposed to moisture, your resins. So always try and cover up your jugs whenever you're done measuring, mixing, all that kind of good stuff. Okay, so we got our big giant cup of resin. We're going to mix this up. And this is, again, this is all the resin that we need for both the round one and the square one. I kind of watch what I'm doing. It's so full that I'm stirring a little bit slower so I don't slosh it all over. A little slower than I usually would. All right, it's looking pretty good. I'm just going to stir a little bit longer, make sure that we got everything. Looks like there's a chunk of something in there. Nope, that's, yeah, there was a little bit of a chunk of something. I think I might have dumped some little hardened piece from that pump. We don't want any chunks. I don't know where that came from, but we're good to go now. Okay, so I'm going to split this off. 350 of this is going to go in this cup. Zero this out. This is going to be our pipe. $340. Okay. Close enough. 349.7. And what I'm going to do here is we're just going to add a very tiny amount of red dye. This is what we were supposed to do on the other one. I'm literally using a pinprick, toothpick. And what I'm going to do here is sneak up on this. We really don't want that much. That's probably enough right there. All we're doing is we want to tint the resin a little bit, you know. What else are we doing with this one? Is that it? Yeah, just a little bit of red dye. I'm going to go for a little bit more. These Alumilite dyes are so concentrated that you really got to be careful. They're not like, you know, alcohol dyes, alcohol inks. Those are very diluted, so a lot of it is not really going to change a whole lot of the look of the resin, the color. I like that. So let's give that a pour. I'm going to move this to the side for now. Well, in fact, I'm going to take this out first. We're just going to pour our resin. Then we're going to push this thing down in there and let it kind of float around. I kind of coax it a little bit. The air bubbles are kind of keeping it floating up. It's kind of crooked, but let's see. I got a little wire here I can use to try and kind of get this thing centered a little bit. I think that's probably about as good as I'm going to get it. Put that aside, and then in this other one, we're going to split off a little bit of resin here. Yeah, in this cup, 40 grams. So it's mostly going to be clear. 50 grams, that's fine. And then we're going to add a little bit of white pearl to the mix, just for fun. Let's see, we're going to add the macro pearl from Caster's Choice. And we're going to add an 1/8 teaspoon. See how that looks. So let me get this out of the way. Got a little bit of this left over too. I think I'm going to top off this one. You might not be able to see me doing this. I'm topping off that pipe. A little bit more resin. That's good. All right, so 1/8 teaspoon of macro pearl. From what I've heard, I haven't really experimented a whole lot with this, but you can actually get the diamond dust effect by adding this with a little bit of dye. I mean, it gives you that kind of sparkly pearl. So it's a pretty cool product. I've been kind of waiting to get my hands on it for a while. All right. And actually, I'm going to add another 1/8 teaspoon. It's a little bit thin. I want this to be pretty full of pearl. You can even add a little bit of white dye if you wanted to this to just give it a little bit more body, but I think now with a 1/4 teaspoon in there, we're good to go. And that's about 50 grams total. Changing my notes over there. So I'm going to close up our macro pearl. Let's hit the resin with the heat gun, see where we're at. It's at about 100, so it looks like we're about ready to go. I want to get this into the mold. Get our clear in there. And then I think the way I'm going to do this, we're going to pour the macro pearl on top here now. Then we're going to press our pieces down in. And there's lots of different ways that you could do this. By doing it that way, we should be able to get some of that pearl pulled down in and around our spirals. We can use the stick to kind of move it around as well. And then we're going to add, let's see here. Get rid of that string. There's probably a string in there on, on one end. Forgot to take those off. So let's push this guy down in. Not doing anything special here. And then I'm just going to kind of dump the rest of our pearl on top. And give it, again, another little kind of mix around. Those little spirals actually kind of move it around in a circular motion. Okay, we need to get this in a pressure pot. And we'll be ready to rock and roll, guys. I think we're good. I keep dumping these things. What is my problem today? All right, got that one. I'm going to do this one a little bit more carefully. And then, here's my lid. 70 PSI, as usual. I don't know if you guys can see me over here. Light stand in the way. Getting my pressure pot ready. Okay, and contact. Yep. I'm gonna hit that. There we go. Okay. Woo! All right, guys, we made it through. I'm just gonna clean up a couple things real quick. Get this mixing stick cleaned off. Put our macro pearl away. And then we'll be good to go. I'm pretty excited to see how these things turn out. I haven't really cast anything quite like that, you know, with aluminum, with the spiral look, and with a little bit of the dye on there. You know, we'll have to kind of see. Like I said, it wasn't just coming off when I put it in the resin, so I kind of have high hopes. I think we'll be okay with that stuff working out. Take a little bit of acetone and just wipe this off. Make sure I've gotten all the resin off of that thing. Get this mixing cup back in the dirty mixing cup area. Put this up. Just trying to clean things up so I don't stick my fingers in in goo. There we go. Hey, Julie, thank you very much. So real quick, I need to move my camera. So I think next week we should, I can't remember. I think I'm getting the parts that I need next week for the new camera. I've been having issues where the cord, the HDMI cable thing where it plugs in, and I've gone through 2 cameras at this point, but it's heavy, and I moved my cameras around so much that that it's screwed up that interface in the camera. So my second Handycam has bit the dust. I have a new one, a replacement already, but I finally realized there's good options that are really expensive, like better cameras and wireless setups, but we're talking thousands of dollars. So I decided this time to go with another Handycam, the same exact thing. But what I'm gonna do now is I got a really light and one of those kind of curly, you know, small cables that I can plug into the camera and then plug into you know, my normal HDMI cable, which is a little bit heavier, but kind of have it where it's got that springy light cable coming directly out. That's what's plugged into the camera. And so I'm hoping that will, even though I'm moving it around a lot, it's not going to put a lot of pressure or you know, drag on that interface. So it should work good, you know, a little bit better than it has. But the problem is I have the camera. I don't have that little spring, you know, whatever you call it, the little cord thing, cable patch. So I got to wait for that before we can start using the Handycam again. We should have better, you know, I have control over the picture I can see on the viewfinder, and I can zoom in and out. So it's going to make things the way they were again. But hopefully it'll live a little bit longer than the last couple. The other thing that I did smart this time is I got a 3-year warranty on it. So if it does blow up, I'm going to send it back and get a new one. So should be a lot better. But I really appreciate you guys, everybody that super chatted. So many super chats. You guys are awesome. And I hope that you guys had fun. I was a little bit scatterbrained today, like I said. My head is just kind of off in the clouds, and you know, whatever, but hopefully I wasn't too crazy, and you guys enjoyed the stream. Yeah, definitely happy Easter to everybody. And real quick, I know that there's been a few extra people that have come in. If you haven't seen the Easter egg that I did on Wednesday, here it is. It turned out pretty wicked. I finally got the actual egg. Where are we at here? I actually got an egg shape done correctly this time. A lot better than the other ones. And the little Mylar shreds turned out really neat. They're just kind of swirling around in there, making it look kind of cool. We added a little bit of the emerald green Caster's Choice mica powder in there just to add some effect. And that worked out good. So I'm pretty excited about that thing. Hopefully I will be getting some pictures and stuff of the entire bowl and all 3 eggs in it soon. I'll get that posted on Instagram. I've been waiting to kind of get a few moments to get it set up and actually look good. So I'm pretty excited about that project. That was a fun one. If you didn't see those, we cast all the egg blanks and the bowl blank probably last Friday. No, it's probably been at least like 2 weeks, I guess. So we have that on a live stream, as well as turning 3 eggs in a bowl. So make sure to check out on my YouTube channel if you want to see those things being made or turned. But anyway, I hope everybody had fun tonight. Thanks for joining the fun. Let me stop real quick because I've been talking a lot and doing lots of different stuff. I want to see what you guys have been saying in the chat room here. Make sure I'm not missing anything. Thanks, Billy. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for coming up with some of the colors too. You guys always love the chat's ideas with colors, because sometimes it's things that I would never have picked myself. So it's always good to do that. We've found some really cool combos with the chat. Yeah, snub the. Well, yeah, so I'm going to be, I understand, but the problem is it's not only that I move the camera tripod around, it's that I'm constantly moving the head around, so I can't just snub the cable to it. And even if I did that, the HDMI cable I had, it's like super heavy. It's terrible. So like I said, I got a little patch cable that should make things better. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to snub, or I'm just going to tape the heavy cable part, where it connects. That's going to be taped down. But I think it should work okay, just having a thin, lighter cable being plugged right in there. So if that doesn't work, frankly, I'm just going to buy either a really good camera and use an SDI cable that those things actually plug in, so it's not like I have to worry about the cable falling out or moving. Or I will go with one of these wireless setups. But we're going to have to do some fundraising for that if I decide to do that. I think we'll be okay with this one. I think this new setup will be good. So, okay, I don't think I'm missing anything. Oh, you're getting discharged from the hospital. Nice. That's good. Good news, Eric. Good to hear. Eric Witzel. All right. Yeah. So I will be demolding these this weekend, and I'll post pics. I might actually even. I've been trying to do just a quick YouTube live on my phone. So it's kind of quick and simple. So we'll have to see. I'm trying to get in the mode of that, because you guys watch and then you don't get to see them being demolded unless you follow on Instagram and Facebook. So we'll have to kind of see which one. But bare minimum for sure, I will get them posted probably either the after demolding or a full demolding thing, either on Instagram and Facebook, or maybe on YouTube as well. So anyway, guys, I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend. Hunker down, stay safe, stay healthy, and hopefully we'll be through all this lockdown period stuff and coronavirus soon. But again, thank you guys for joining the fun tonight, and I will see you guys next week. Probably doing some extra streams again, but we'll have to kind of see. Keep an eye on my Instagram and Facebook so you get notified. I'll try to give you guys a little bit of notice beforehand to let you know when I go live. So hopefully we'll stick with the Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule next week, unless I get super busy and I can't do a stream at the beginning of the week. Bare minimum, for sure, we're going to have another stream next Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific time, like every week. So anyway, guys, have a good night, and I will see you guys all on the next stream.